think I'm live. Hope so. Anyway, good morning. It's a Sunday morning. A little too warm outside to go hunting, so figured I'd sit down and talk a little bit. I know I hadn't posted a video in forever, and honestly, filming is a lot harder than what I was thinking it was going to be, especially getting everything worked out, all the kinks and just the technical side of things. I actually went hunting the other day. I guess opening weekend bow, and me and one of my coworkers go out, found a hot tree, dropping acorns like crazy, perfect setup, easy to get to. I've hunted it in the past and had deer literally 10 yards from me sitting on the ground, and it's a good place to go. Lots of deer sign in the area, and honestly, it's easy to get to, so why not go to it? We get in there, and this time we're sitting on the ground. There's two of us, so kind of wanted to make a blind. So get in there pretty early, probably 45 minutes to an hour before daylight, and go in there, snip some stuff, just a little privet, invasive stuff, so it doesn't matter in my eyes. I believe I can cut as much of it as I want because it's invasive. So trim it up a little bit, make a little blind, got a good setup. We've been quiet the whole time, and it's been sitting there for about 20, 30 minutes, and it's like just starting to get daylight, and it's super quiet. Like you can hear people talking a mile away, cars going up and down the highway, and nothing around us or nothing within our vicinity, whatever, is close. So I'm like, I'm going to film an intro, right? Get the phone out, get ready to record. I get it up, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, looking through the screen. You can kind of see the trees and stuff. It's kind of like just past the gray light where you can start seeing the colors of the leaves and sticks and stuff. So get the phone up, press record, and as soon as I press record, it does just like this. Right here it goes. It shines right up the hill. And sure enough, I cover as fast as I can, but it don't matter. The damage is done, and it shines right up the hill. I cover it, put it down, turn it off, but it's too late. They saw us. They were literally, or saw me. They were right on top of the hill, and I guess they saw the flashlight. And by about the time my phone hit my knee and like I turned the light off, you could hear them on top of the hill. And then they take off. You can just hear them running and blowing, steadily getting further and further away. But that's just how it goes. We ended up sitting there, had wood ducks, raccoon. Well, we didn't have raccoons that day, but wood ducks, squirrels, heron. I mean, whole 9 yards. Everything you can think of that would be eating white oak acorns next to a creek. Even a muskrat come up the creek and dove around and ate some acorns right there in front of us. But for whatever reason, the deer didn't come back through. We sat there basically all day. We come back for some lunch, but we wasn't here at the house more than 30 minutes. So we threw 10 hours at that tree and messed it up within the first 30 minutes, unfortunately. But that's just how it goes. So, but that's most recent. I wanted to talk today about how I kind of started hunting and the story of my first WMA buck. I've talked about it once on the Southern Outdoorsman, but it's hard to listen to. I don't know if I was nervous or just, I don't know. I lacked in the communication department, evidently, because going back and listening to it now is honestly just kind of nails against chalkboards. It's not easy to listen to. I'm sure this isn't easy to listen to either, but hey, we working on it, getting it. Gonna get it fixed, hopefully, or a little bit better. And so jump right into it. Senior year, actually junior year of high school, I was like, we ain't killing no big deer on the hunting club. And I'm on social media and I see people post these giants. Well, when I say giants, like 120-inch deer, like you're like, oh, okay, that for Alabama, that's pretty good deer, Like nobody's letting a 120-inch deer walk unless your name is Jonathan Holzenbeck. That dude, psycho. I don't know. Maybe he's killed so many now. He's just like, he's a baby. He'd be on 150 walking around. He needs a year. No, not me, buddy. Not me. So junior in high school, baseball is pretty much all I did. Worked a little bit in summer, but pretty much just baseball. So I've got pretty much all fall to piddle around and do stuff. And I've always loved hunting and fishing. And I've killed some deer at this point. Nothing giant. Actually, I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab, I got two of them here with me that came from the club. And they're, I would say, about an average deer for Alabama. Let me go grab them. So, first one, crazy looking, just odd deer. Got some characters starting to form, but he come out in the road or in my shooting lane, and I only saw this side right here. So I just saw he had a main beam and curled up. And when I first saw him, I was just like, that's a shooter. So threw the gun up, didn't count points, nothing. I was like, that's a rack buck. We shooting. I never killed a buck when I shot this one. I don't know how old I was, but hunting by myself. And he comes out in the lane, and I just saw the main beam. I was like, you know what? He's done. Threw the gun up, put it on him. He crashed like 40 yards from where I shot him. But not a bad. I feel like that's about your average 2.5, 3.5-year-old deer in Alabama. He had some stuff going on here, but he broke it off. Never know how big it was, but pretty good size antler, I would say, or tine. Especially got some cool. Got a little bitty drop tine starting to go, but that's the first buck I ever killed. It was one of those just like I sat at this. I had my one stand that I really liked, and I hunted that thing every day of the week. Well, not every day of the week, but anytime I go hunting, I just love sitting over there. I don't know what it was. I always saw deer, and just a nice, comfortable stand. It was a ladder stand. I loved it. Perfect spot. Most of the time, with a north wind, the wind's hitting me right in the face, kind of like in the face, kind of on the side. So it was like, I don't know. If I felt like it was a good wind, I always saw deer, and I always had a good time sitting there because I never knew what I was going to see, whether it be a bobcat, coyote, deer, turkeys. Good overall stand. I like sitting there. And that joker come out, let him have it. I was stoked. He's probably only a 3.5-year-old. Just going off of his top teeth. I don't know, though. Every area is a little different depending on their wear and stuff. But he's honestly probably only a 3.5-year-old. So not a mature deer. But, hey, 14-year-old me, however old I was, he was a monster. He might break 80 inches. Probably not, honestly. But big enough. So that's the first one that I killed at the club. The next one, a little bit better. Still a basket rack. This one scores like maybe right at 100. I don't think it does. I think it's actually 90. So good brow time, but still just your typical average basket rack. Got a little bit of character back here. Just the joker sitting on a food plot. He come out at like literally 7 o'clock. First deer I saw, he was working a scrape line. I had a pretty good shot on him. He was about 175 yards. Took a sketchy shot, but I don't know, kind of sketched. He was acting weird, but he was walking right at me, kind of started acting a little sketchy, like he almost smelled me. I don't think there's any way he could have, but he was just acting funky, so I went ahead and took a frontal shot with 270, and he took it like a champ. He ran about 80 yards and didn't really bleed for the first, 30, 40. But he piled up shortly after, and once he started bleeding, he really started bleeding good. It was one of those heart punches. But up until I started hunting management area, this was literally the biggest one I've ever seen. Well, maybe not seen, but the biggest one I've ever killed. Not a giant by any means, but typical Alabama deer, in my opinion. Just basket rack, okay mass, okay tines. Nothing giant. Nothing to really write home about. But junior year started seeing all these people post big deer on management area. And management area is basically right out the back door for my house. So I'm like, well, I probably should start looking into that place over there. And there's some pretty big deer out there for some reason. I don't know why. It's not like this place just has superior genetics or a different kind of soil type or food. It's really not. It's all about the same because Hunting Club ain't but 40 minutes from here. But for whatever reason, out here there are some monsters. And I mean, when I say monsters, like 120, 130-inch deer. So go out there, and I'm like, well, let's see. I really like hunting hardwoods, and it's not that boring to hunt in hardwoods because you can see and hear. I really, for some reason, I like being able to sit in a place where I can hear them coming. So I'm like, yeah, hardwoods it is. I found a place on the map. This management area doesn't really have a ton of hardwoods, but if you find them, there's a few pockets left that you can really hunt. So go out there, check this place out, and I'm like, there's a little bit of diversity in here. It sets up pretty good for killing a buck, from what I understood at the time, as far as like the wind direction, and I don't have to let the deer cross my scent trail. I can just go right to my tree, and the deer are going to come out in front of me, and no harm, no foul on if I get in there or bump them or anything, because most likely I'm not going to bump them. Or if I do, they're going to hear me coming because it's hardwoods and it's super loud, and they can see pretty far in there. I'd say you can probably see over 100 yards most of the time in that particular area. So go in there early season, put a camera up, and I had several deer that were okay. I don't know what happened to all those pictures. They might be on one of my old phones, might not. At the time, I just kind of like game cameras were starting to get a little bit better, like picture quality, and I had, I think, one or two game cameras, and I was like, all right, let's go put them out. Put one out in a spot on a scrape. For some reason, I was just like, well, this is about the only deer sign I can find in here, other than some feed sign and some tracks. I'm like, well, this would be what I would put my camera on because it's a scrape. I know that the deer are going to come in here to this one spot. And I was like, well, put the camera in there and gave it 2-3 weeks, come back. Maybe I actually gave it longer than that. I don't really even remember how long the camera was in there, but go back in there, pull the camera or pull the cord, and I'm like, well, dang, there's 3 or 4 good bucks in here, like bigger than what I've ever seen on the hunting club. Nothing truly giant by any means. Like probably the biggest one was maybe 115 inches, maybe. That's being generous, I think. Most of them were probably about the size of the one I killed. But I'm like, well, there's 3 or 4 shooters in here, and they're in here in daylight. We're gonna hunt it every day until I can't hunt it no more. Because at that point, I hadn't been anywhere else in the management area, and I really didn't have any confidence in going anywhere else because I had cameras on this one spot. I knew the deer were going to be in here about a certain time. I knew which direction they were coming from. So I was like, we're just going to hunt this thing till we can't hunt it no more. And that's what I did. Literally hunted that spot probably 10 times that year. And the way the management area was set up at that time was you pretty much only got Friday, Saturday, Sunday to gun hunt. And I didn't even have a bow at this time, so I was pretty limited on when I could actually hunt. So first gun hunt comes around, sit out there, nothing. Second one comes out there, nothing. Or seeing does and some turkeys and stuff, but no bucks. And I don't know what number I was sitting on, but I would always stand there till like 2 o'clock just because of when I had some of the deer on camera. So hunted them from before daylight, go in there, hunt till 2 o'clock, come out, and then go throw a Hail Mary and sit on a power line or something that I had never even walked. Didn't know if there's any deer around there, and never really saw any big bucks doing that. Not to say that you can't kill them like that. That'll be in future episodes, I guess, or future lives when I talk about really dialing in, hunting some of the power lines and long straightaways that I've really come to love because of how effective it can be. But go in there at, I don't know, 5:30, 5 o'clock every morning. And at this time, I was using a Summit, I guess Summit Viper, but one made of steel. It was dang near 40 pounds. And I would carry that joker in and out every time. I was in a lot better shape than I am now. And looking back at it, I don't know how I was able to do that as many times as I did, because that thing, I guess baseball was keeping me in shape. Because you walk in there with a 38-pound climber on your back and a 10, 15-pound backpack and a rifle, you're looking at about 50 pounds walking in and out of the woods, close to a mile every trip. So it was pretty physically demanding. Luckily, that area, there wasn't as many big hills as what some of the areas I hunt now are. So that really kind of helped me, I guess, and kept me going back in there. But I don't know what number sit it was. I go in there that morning, and I had just got up my tree, and I hear something coming. I'm like, well, let's go. I've killed them right at daylight before. So I'm sitting there. I can hear the footsteps. I think I got a person watching now. Oh, they're mine. They gone. Anyway, sitting there, hear footsteps coming, and finally see it. Here comes a little bitty old spike. This joker comes like 20 yards to the base of the tree and looks straight up at me. I don't know how he saw me, what he saw move, but he looked straight up at me and just kind of like, okay, cool. And then turned around and went on and did whatever he was doing for the rest of the morning. And that's like 7 o'clock in the morning, like right at first light here. And I think ended up sitting there until like 9:45, and I heard something kind of behind me, and I looked, and there's some turkeys piddling around. And at this time, I had a buddy hunting with me, so I'd get on the radio with him, or phone, or I don't know if it was radio or phone. I used to carry a walkie-talkie and a phone just because it's in case you don't have service. I'm actually about to go back doing that because I really do enjoy carrying the walkie-talkie around instead of just my phone. It's kind of cheeks to sit out there and not have service and not be able to and just sit there and talk to myself, because that's what I'm doing right now, and I probably should stop doing it, but we're going to do it in case anybody sees this later and wants to listen to the video or story. So 9:45 rolls around. I get on the walkie-talkies. I'm like, there's some turkeys coming your way. You seen anything? Yeah, I saw a little buck. Nothing big, not big enough to shoot. And it was going on 10 o'clock, 10:30, and he's like, all right, I'm getting ready to go. Like, he's ready to leave. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just sit till 12, just because they've been in here in the middle of the day and never know. I mean, it's been a good crisp morning, nice straight wind, no swirly winds or anything. We hadn't spooked any deer. And about 10 o'clock is when people normally start getting up and moving. So I've always been told, stay there a little later on public, just because most people come out at 10, and when they come out, they might jump or bump one and it come to you. So about 11:25 or so, here comes something on top of the hill. Something was moving around on the side of the hill. I couldn't see him, but I could hear him, and it was a spike, the same spike that I saw that morning, chasing 2 or 3 does around, like just he wasn't grunting or anything, but he was running them in circles, and they were all piddling around, and they started doing circles, and they kind of cut back up towards the hill the way they come. And I'm just kind of sitting there. I'm like, well, that was weird. I don't. It's weird that they're just kind of like hanging around that one little area doing little circles. And then sure enough, the next thing I hear footsteps again, crunching, coming down that hill. And sure enough, I see it's a rack buck. And man, I get the gun up as fast as I can. I steady up good. He's coming down the hill kind of diagonal, and he's coming down the hill. And it's big hardwoods in there, but there's also some little saplings and stuff. So you got to kind of like pick your hole to shoot through. And sure enough, he comes down the hill, and he probably gets to about 75, in between 50 and 75 yards, I'd say. And I stop him, and he's looking right at me, and I let him have it. And he goes straight down, luckily. But when he come down, or he coming across the hill, this is all I could see. And at the time, that's the biggest one I've ever killed. Or this is the biggest one I'd ever killed at the time. And I was ecstatic. I mean, it's a good deer. 100-inch, 8-point, right at 100 inches. I don't know how old he was, unfortunately, because I didn't look. But I was like, good symmetrical 8-point. And the velvet that you see right here is actually from my grandmother. I don't know what we was doing that year. Maybe the family Christmas dinner or get together or something. She showed up and she's wearing this velvet stuff. And I made the joke. I was like, what'd you do? Go to the church and cut that off with a pew and then sew it into some pants? Well, evidently she didn't like that and wasn't too fond of it. So she was like, I'm never going to wear these again. And I said, and I guess I made the comment that would look real good, like with the contrast of how white these antlers are. And you can see it's just held together with a little safety pin, but from facing head on, it actually looks pretty decent. But yeah, so that's where the velvet came from. Cool little extra to the story. But he come down the hill, and he got. But that's the story of the first WMA buck I ever killed. He was going to a scrape, and that just kind of like lit the fire for me. He gave me the confidence to start hunting the WMA more and scrapes. And yeah, senior year of high school, killed him. My buddy ended up shooting another one that year in a different location. We just kind of threw a Hail Mary, and he killed one. But that's the story. I don't know. This was about 20 minutes long, so hopefully I didn't bore you too much. But anyway, that's the story of first deer, first WMA buck. Pretty happy with him. I'd shoot him again in a heartbeat, especially at the time. But this one kind of kicked off my hunting career for the WMA. So hopefully this coming weekend I'm going to have another video out. I might do a buck inventory video. I've got lots of trail camera pictures and videos this year because I've run a lot of cameras, a lot more than what I normally do, which that's probably because I'm out of school finally and able to throw a lot more time out there at the woods. But if you like the video, go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment. Hopefully going to start doing a video every week. There might be a bloopers video coming because I've got a lot of fails, especially trying to film stuff in the woods by myself. It's a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be, especially with limited camera gear and limited experience. So hopefully you have a great week. Like, subscribe if you want to, promote the channel. I think we at like 34, 35 subscribers. Got to start somewhere. Hopefully we'll get up there in the numbers, and hopefully it won't be just hunting videos in the future. Get out and start vlogging a little bit. Just fishing videos, hunting videos, hiking videos. I've got some camping stuff. I'm waiting for the weather to turn a little bit cooler because the bugs, oh my gosh, I got eat up. I mean, I'm covered. I don't know what it was, but they hit this arm right here. They went up my sleeve, and my back is just destroyed. My shoulder destroyed. They're all around my belt line. My left leg got absolutely demolished by bugs. That's another reason why I'm not out today. It's a little too warm, and for whatever reason, all my big bucks this week have just dropped off the face of the earth. Bow season started second weekend, so hopefully. Well, who's this? What's up? You just missed the whole story, unfortunately. I'm going to hopefully post this. It's about 22 minutes long. Oh, okay. What's up, Chandler? Yeah. I'm going to post a video. Only doing it because I wasn't able to go out in the woods today. It's too hot, and I'm not getting eaten by bugs anymore. But We'll start posting a video every week, whether it be a live or some kind of other bloopers video of me messing around in the woods and failing multiple times miserably. So yeah, I'm about to end it, but like, subscribe. See you tomorrow.